Craft Show. We're your hosts, Paige and Rachel.
Spring has finally sprung, and after this long winter, we are so ready to get back to springy activities like gardening, sprucing up the house, and finally shaving our legs.
Right. Well, you're on your own with the leg shaving, but today we're going to get crafty and make a spring wreath, and then get down and dirty with a quick, easy, and really cheap greenhouse idea using a couple items you probably already have around the house. We'll also cover a couple garden basics like what to plant and when. So let's get started.
Yeah!
Cheers!
Okay, so starting off, we're going to be working on our spring wreaths. First, you're going to want to have a wreath form to attach your flowers to, or whatever you're going to attach. We've got a grapevine wreath, and then a styrofoam one that you can just stick the flowers directly into. You're going to want to have an assortment of flowers in whatever color you think would be awesome. Some ribbon for a final touch, and of course wire cutters and wire to hold your ribbons and your flowers all together if you're not using one of the styrofoam wreaths. And of course our favorite, the trusty bottle of wine.
So what we're going to do first is kind of pick out our flowers. You're going to want to get some flowers with nice long sticky stems on them. And then we're just going to absolutely butcher them. So take your trusty wire cutters and snip them all off. The more you have to work with, the easier it's going to be to weave into your wreath and then wrap ribbons around.
And really, how often do you get to absolutely butcher something, really?
Not nearly often.
Not often enough.
Now, if you bought your flowers on the clearance rack of your local fabric store, like I did, you might have a little, a couple bare spots, and you can just leave those out of the wreath or trim those off. It's super easy to just clip the little plastic bits that are missing flowers and tighten things up. For this particular wreath, I'm going to be doing a white and yellow blend because I had tons of fake white flowers in my basement that have been collecting dust. And Rachel will be doing a different style with purple hydrangeas. Alright, so let's get weaving these in.
If you're using a couple different colors or different textures, it's a good idea to lay them out first to see where you want them before you start wiring them in, because that will probably be a pain in the butt to undo if you decide at the end that you don't like it.
Who lays stuff out? Seriously, Rachel?
Me!
God,
jeez.
If you have a bunch of flowers left, then why not make another wreath? We also bought a styrofoam wreath form. So for this kind, you're going to want a lot shorter stems because you're not going to be weaving. You're just going to be stabbing stuff a whole lot. So you'll want your stems nice and short for this one because the longer it is, the more stabbing you're going to have to do. And you're only going to make it about a quarter of the way around before you just get over it.
These don't look quite as nice if they're fluffed out as the grapevine ones.
So here's the gist of it. Just kind of keep stabbing your way around. You want to fill in as much space as you possibly can because that is not quite as pretty as the grapevine. Just stab away.
It's so much better once you fluff the whole thing out. It's kind of sad when we started, but it really comes along nicely.
Okay, so moving on to our next project. We have these little redneck greenhouses, for lack of a better term. So what you're going to do for a little greenhouse to get your seeds started before you plant them outside is you need an egg carton, either styrofoam or cardboard. Either work. There's pros and cons to each. So styrofoam is a little sturdier after a while. It doesn't start disintegrating when it gets wet. You just lift the little plants out when you're done and put them right in the garden. But with cardboard, which is also good, then you can just kind of cut them up when you're done and plant that directly in the garden, and you reduce the risk of transplant shock. So there's good and bad to
And of course, egg cartons aren't the only thing that you can use for getting your seedlings started. There's also a way to make real cute little seedling homes here out of toilet paper rolls that I'm going to show you real quick. So you can take a roll, cut it in half, cut about halfway up one direction and the other direction, and then just fold these little guys in like you would close a cardboard box, basically. And these are going to have the same, these are also going to be good for planting because they're biodegradable. So much like the paper egg cartons, you can just put these right in the ground afterwards.
You want to use a nice light seed starting soil. A lot of times this is compost, peat, and vermiculite mixed in. They're little shiny bits that just lightens the soil up so that your seedlings have an easier time growing up and breaking through them. Unfortunately, it comes super dry so that it's light and easy to ship and package, so I like to get it wet in a bowl and then just kind of spoon it out into the little egg cartons and then put the seeds in from there. Alright, so once we've got our little pouches all full, you don't want them like brimming because we're going to add a little bit more when we add our seeds. You can use a kind of pokey tool. Some people use the erasers on pencils. I think my finger works just fine.
Also a suitable pokey tool.
Also a suitable pokey tool. And you just kind of poke a hole about 1/2 inch down into each of the little slots. Alright, today we're going to be planting bell peppers. Not all of them germinate, so we're going to put 2 seeds in each hole, and then you can just kind of tuck it in. Okay, so when you have your seeds all nice and tucked in, we're going to use this highly scientific device called a shower cap. And just kind of gently place it over there. The shower cap has a couple jobs. 1, it keeps pesky critters like my cat Madeline out. 2, it holds in some of that water and makes literally a little greenhouse, or in this case, a pink house. So that's going to keep your seedlings a little warmer and nice and hydrated so they don't dry out. Seedlings drying out is, the easiest way to kill them. It's just the saddest thing. So sad.
So bad.
So sad. So if you've got too much water and it's kind of, clouding up and fogging up your shower cap, then you can take it off for a day or 2. Make sure it doesn't dry out too much before you put your cap back on. You take it off when your seedlings have all germinated or they've outgrown and gotten too tall to safely put the shower cap back on. You don't want to put it on and crush all your baby cucumbers. You just have to make sure you continue to water these guys a little more diligently when the shower cap's off. When you do start watering your seedlings, you want to do so very gently because they're fragile. So you can start taking your seedlings outside when it's warm enough. So for the case of cucumbers, you want it to be, over 60 degrees consistently. You kind of have to wean them outside, so on a nice sunny day, take them outside for a couple hours, like on a screened porch or a covered porch.
Take them on a day trip. Buy them a glass of wine. Get to know them.
Cucumbers like that. Anyhow, so introduce them outside gently, otherwise they're going to just snap in half at the first strong wind. Some plants that you do not want to start in the egg cartons or start inside are beans. They don't transplant well. You don't want to start most root vegetables, so turnips, radishes, carrots.
Things that grow down.
Things that grow down. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Ding! What's that?
I don't know. What could that be?
It's a message from our longtime viewer, first-time messenger, Taylor.
What's her code name there? I Heart Tiny Kitchen Girl, number 5.
Number 5. Taylor wants to know, does the shower cap need to be clear?
Well, there are a lot of pretty floral shower caps available for your beautiful hair treatments. But for this purpose, you want to have a clear one. Now it can be clear in pink or just clear. So if you go to a hotel,
I was gonna say, don't lie. We all have one of these in the closet somewhere.
We do.
From a hotel. That's where this one came from.
Steal hotel shower caps. It's free. Anyhow, so you don't want to get the opaque ones because you want the light to come through. Now a lot of seeds will actually germinate even without the light, but they won't survive past a couple days with your opaque white flowered shower cap on. So after you have all your seeds and your little redneck greenhouses planted, you want to put them in the sunniest spot in your house. Unfortunately, I live in a little old house in a kind of, shaded area, so that's not great. But anyhow, sunniest window, line them up, keep an eye on them, make sure they don't dry out, and in a few weeks plant them in the ground.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Tiny Kitchen Cooking and Craft Show. Enjoy your beautiful spring wreaths and your tiny mini seedling garden.
Join us next time, where we have a lesson in humility and home-baked bread with our special guest, Kanye West. Thank you and have a great day.